Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Sherry Moyes here, your intuitive business mentor and all around cheerleader. Wanting to make sure that you are both nourished and thriving in your life and in your business, if that's your journey. So if you are joining me here live, ensure that you give StreamYard permission so that I can see who you are. And let me know that you're here. So today we are talking about the idea that the busier we are, the more we are moving the meter. And we're going to ask my famous, often asked question, what's true about that? So I really would love to dismantle this idea that the busy you are, that is like this badge of honor, like you're earning a, Girl Scout, Boy Scout badge, by doing and go. And so today I really want to give you some practical ways that you can ditch the badge of busy and really get to doing in your beingness in a way that's actually going to move the meter versus just checking things off a list and saying, well, I did a lot today, or I did so much this week, but what are the results? Like, what are you actually creating in that busyness? So your time, your energy is your most precious resource, your number one resource. You only have a limited amount of time. And so how you spend that resource is really important, and you should look at it as a resource. Oftentimes we don't. And that can create that energy of stress and anxiety and overwhelmed, like there's never enough time in the day and I always have to be doing. It's exhausting. It's exhausting just talking about it. So how do you journey through and make progress in your business and not just be busy? So one of the things that is really important to get clear on and to kind of accept is that you can actually do more and create more progress by doing less. Do you believe me? What if I told you that just by focusing on like one thing a day, you'd move the meter more than if you had accomplished 10 things on your to-do list? It's true. The more we focus, the more we're clear on what's going to move the meter, the more we actually create progress. So think about it this way. If I took and had 10, balls to roll forward, how hard is it for me to get all 10 going and get them all to the finish line? Versus if I have one ball to focus on, one thing to move forward, what's going to happen? I'm actually going to get there faster. And I'll have to go back. There's actually a whole study done on this, like on multitasking. But it's not even just multitasking. It's dividing our attention across so many things that we think are going to move the meter, when really, if we put our attention and focus into one area first, we would actually create more progress. And I'm not saying you only do one thing a day. That's not the point. The point is that you're really intentional about what you focus on and that you're really clear about what's going to move things forward. So how do you get there? There is a whole process that I use in terms of how you take a look at that list of things you need to do and figure out what's most important and what's actually going to move the meter. And one of the biggest things about that, when you look at that list, is being able to discern and be really honest with yourself around, what is really important and what you want to focus on. Because I know what human nature does and what we do. We're like, oh, I'll work on that because it's fun. I love to create, and I could play with, Canva for hours or mess around, like putting things up on my website. But is that actually moving the meter? The question is, what do I want to be moving towards? If my goal is to have more clients, then is playing around on Canva and creating the best image ever actually going to do that? Or is there something else that I could be doing instead that would help me to move towards that goal? So getting really honest with ourselves about how we're spending our time and where we're spending our time is a really powerful practice. So when you're looking at a to-do list and planning and scheduling, it's an opportunity to put things through a truth filter and get really clear and say to yourself, what's possible? What is it that I really desire to create in my business or in my life? And what's going to help me get there? And really putting the majority of that precious resource of time that you have available to you towards that. That's why I teach and talk about the power of one. Because if you've got one thing a day that you know is moving you towards that goal, and you do just that one thing, that ball is going to move farther faster. And you're going to create more momentum than trying to move 10 of them at once. So what can you put your focus and energy and attention on that's going to get that ball rolling? Because here's the gift, too, is that you're not splaying out your energy all over the place. You're nice, you're focused, you're clear, you know where you're going. And it creates this beautiful feedback loop for you in your own self of like, oh, I got that done. I'm making progress because I'm focused and I've got the end in mind and I know what's going to help me get there. And so that gets this, oh, I can do that again and again and again. And it can be easier versus the old storyline that plays over here is I need to do as many things as possible. I got to do all the things in order to create progress. What's true about that? We don't have to do all the things. Sometimes, we think, oh, I've got to do it this way, or I need to do it that way. Again, what's true about that? I threw together, quote unquote, if you looked at it from the outside in, a training today that I ran for a friend of mine's group. But it has been milling in my brain for weeks. I knew kind of the parts and pieces, and I could have been perfectionist about it and been, creating all these beautiful slides and doing all these things. But I actually chose to allow that information to come through. I had time set aside to work on it, and I got to do in my beingness, which is a whole nother conversation. But I didn't try to do all the things. I tried to do what was most important, which was focus. What are the key pieces that I need to share that are really going to help people? And then not worry about how it looked, worry about the content. Because if I'd worried about how it had looked, I never would have gotten it done, probably. So that's the other piece of like, what are you focused on? And what's the most important piece of that to focus on for you? So let's get practical. How do you accomplish this? How do you get to that focus? How do you know what's going to move the meter? Well, that's a big question, but there is this inner voice here. First of all, what is the goal? Where or the intention? What do you want to create? And then what are the things that are going to help you to do that? We all, maybe your business is flourishing and you have enough clients right now that feels really good for you. So that's not your focus. Maybe your focus is on improving your programs and processes in your business so that that client journey is easier and more streamlined so that when you invite the next round in, it's in a better place. Or maybe it's just you need to get clients. So what are the things you can do to do that? So when you know what your focus is, you got to know where you're headed first, and then that will help direct you. The second piece is, how do you want to be showing up in the world? How do you want to feel when you're doing all these things, when you're in the doing? How do you want to be showing up? And so it's a process of creating your to-be list so that you can be showing up and doing in your beingness, because that makes life way more fun when we're doing things in a way that feels good. So that's one filter. Those are two filters you can run the list through to see if they need to stay or they go. Practically, there is the do a dump, like dump all the things out on that list, and then decide what you can delete, what you can defer, and what you can delegate. And that will help you pare down that list and then allow you to pick 3 things to start with that you really think will move the meter, that are important. And then what's the one thing today that you can get focused on? And you can revisit that list each day to see what needs your attention and your focus to continue to move the meter. Now, those are things that move the meter. We've got tasks. That's a whole different conversation. You have tasks that you need to do in order for your business or your life to keep flowing. Those you should have, those are separate. Those don't get to go on your to-do list, move the meter list. Those should be scheduled in or time set aside for, and it's just a regular ongoing thing. So what I'm talking about are the bigger pieces that are going to help you move the meter. So, because then we want to create more impact. We want to have more flow and move the meter forward so that your planning, your scheduling, all of those things are being more impactful. And you're not just spinning your wheels, earning the badge of busy. You're actually spinning your wheels in a direction that's going to create action and traction and impact in your life and in your business, because that's where the magic is. Otherwise, why do it, right? So I'd love to know, do you have the badge of busy, and would you like to turn it in and have the badge of impact and the badge of, making that difference that you want to make in others' lives and your business? Because if you're just busy, you're spinning over here and maybe your people are over here and there's not the connection happening. So I'd love to hear your comments. If you're watching the replay, #replay, what questions do you have? And if you haven't already been through the to-be list training, if you haven't taken that, or you want to learn how to have an empowered to-do list, then go ahead and drop a note in the comments and we will send you out that training. So just say, yes, please, me, and we'll send you the empowered to-do list training. And it is a really, really powerful process. One of my clients, she used to wake up at 4 a.m. because her to-do list was 6, 7, 8 pages long. And she was constantly she felt behind and she was getting no traction. When she started to implement this process, things really started to shift in her world. Not only was she less stressed and overwhelmed, but lo and behold, things were starting to open up. She started to find pieces. She had been working on some PPP loans. This was a while ago, last year. And all of a sudden, all these opportunities appeared because she was no longer head down, focused in the doing. She had eyes up and she was able to see what was possible, and things started to show up. So what's possible when you get out of the doing and into the being and really get focused? So much. Plus, it helps you, as usual. So thriving business requires a nourished and happy you. All right, my friends, I will leave you with that. Again, drop a yes, please, or I'd love the training in the comments, and we'll get that to you. And I will see you next week, same time, same place. And in the meantime, just remember, all it takes is a little bit of heart power. See you then.